Now, this story begins about 9 years ago, where I had an opportunity to be part of a small little film that you guys might have heard of called The Dark Knight Rises. God damn it, Batman, why? Myself and two really good friends that I mentioned numerous times on this channel, Christian Cruz and Billy Kushner, decided to join this open casting call to be part of the movie. So we get in and there's like 1,000 people online. Now at this time, unfortunately, Christian Cruz kind of injured his leg, so he was walking around in crutches, so we knew he wouldn't be cast because he was already cast. No? All right. Tough crowd. So when we entered this casting call, we had to fill out a bunch of paperwork, and on there, specifically wanted to know your fight experience. My friend Billy was in the Army for many years, so he had a military background. They wanted to know if maybe you were a police officer, if you had any sort of law enforcement, if you had martial arts experience, and of course, I wrote down that I had professional wrestling experience. So, needless to say, myself and Billy got those calls when we were very pumped. He found out that he would be playing a police officer in an epic fight scene in The Dark Knight Rises, and I would be a thug. Gangsta! Now, you might be asking yourself, what the hell does this have to do with Elijah Burke? We're gonna get there. So we find out that the shooting is actually going to last a whole week, and we are super stoked to be part of this. So we get there, and we actually find out that the shooting is only 2 days. The other 5 days were going to be this grueling tryout and audition process where we would have to show our fight skills to see if we could be the top tier level athletes. So when we arrived, there's over 500 people there, and they decide to split up the police officers from the thugs. Gangsta! So unfortunately, Billy and I had to go our separate ways, at least at this moment in time. There I see this guy that I recognize. I can't quite put my finger on it. I see him standing up against the wall, not really talking to anybody or anything like that, and then it hits me. It's Elijah Burke. Now, if you're not familiar with Elijah Burke, he had a nice run in WWE, especially when they had their ECW WWE thing that they did. And if you don't know him from there, he was also part of Impact Wrestling as D'Angelo Dinero. So I see him and I decide, you know what? I don't know anybody here. It doesn't look like he knows anybody here. Let me go say hi. I walk up to him.
And I say, hey, my name is Matt. It's nice to meet you. You work as Elijah Burke, right?
Now he looks me up and down, looks right into my eyes with this disgusted look, and says, no. So I'm looking at my hand, super perplexed, and just thinking to myself, wow, what a jerk. Now you might be thinking, well, maybe it wasn't Elijah Burke, Matt. Maybe you just mistaked him for someone else. But no, actually, soon after that, the dirt sheets kind of picked up on this story, and it showed that Elijah Burke was in fact going to be in this film. Now, Elijah Burke did not have a special role. We were on the same playing field. And I can understand, you might be also saying to yourself, maybe he just thought you were a fan. Maybe he thought you wanted a picture or an autograph or something like that. But the way I see it is, it wasn't at an airport. It wasn't at a restaurant. I wasn't approaching him after a wrestling match. This was just us being on the same level, same playing field, and I was just trying to be cordial. So that was a jerk move. What was really interesting about this shoot was we found out that we would have to be there for a whole week. But when we arrived, they told us that we would only be shooting for 2 days. So what were we going to do with the other 5 days? Little did we know we would be put through this audition process, a second audition process, to find out who would be the 20 people close to Batman and Bane.
I am Bane!
Who would get to fight near Batman and Bane during the shoot. Because there was like 500 people there, so they really wanted to separate who were the weak fighters from the strong fighters. Now, hearing this, I looked at my friend Billy and said, listen, we're going to get near Batman and Bane because I'm not going to be labeled as the weak fighter. So they had 3 tiers. I believe the bottom tier of like the weaker fighters, or like more so the extras, were called whales. And then they had tigers. And the top one was called, it was either called eagles or hawks. It was definitely hawks. They were hawks. So I was like, bro, we have to make sure we're hawks. So they made us do all these fight sequences, and we're doing it for hours and hours and days, but we scrapped our way up to be hawks, which I was super stoked about, because that means out of 500 to 1,000 people, we got to be the 20 that were close to Batman and Bane.
Hello, it's me, Bane!
Now, when the movie was released, we were really stoked to see it. We rushed to theaters and found out we were only in it for like maybe 2 seconds, because they filmed a bunch of scenes in New York and in Philadelphia and kind of just spliced them all together. So we were in and out real quick, but it was still a really cool opportunity and something really dope to be part of. Now, I hesitated if I was actually going to do a Wrestling Road Stories about Elijah Burke because my interaction with him was so short. But I guess that's kind of the point, you know? He was a jerk. Right off the bat, he was a jerk. And a lot of people tend to ask me,
Oh, in wrestling, who have you met that wasn't very nice? Who haven't you liked?
Elijah Burke is the only answer that I have. He's the only person that I've met that really just put me off. And, and Batman. We overhear Christian Bale say to a producer, "Can you get these extras away from me?" And that is the story of Elijah Burke, the jerk. Oh, and Batman.
Where are we?